we do have quite a bit of ways to go until we're back to the all-time high on TVL for ORCA. So I think that, obviously there's still a good amount of room to run from a usage perspective on ORCA from what we saw back in 2021 in the height of the bull run, right just shy of 1.5 billion in TVL. And right now we're sitting at 275-ish million in TVL.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of WagmiTV. The boys are back this week, and we got a good one for you. We're going to be talking about a Solana gem. The ticker is ORCA. So ORCA is one of the dexes on Solana, one of the leading dexes. We've been super into the Solana ecosystem recently, and so we figured we'd bring you a video detailing this project a little bit and why we're super bullish on it. So as always, none of this is financial advice. It's only for entertainment purposes. And with that being said, let's kick it off.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think we'll go straight into the chart like we typically do. So let me share my screen here. And we did Radium a few weeks back. So we figured, why not check out ORCA, look into it a little bit. It's made a little bit of a run, but it seems to be pulling back just a bit. So just to kind of lay everything out for us, what we have here in this orange is a downtrend that was resistance for us just back in December. We have an uptrend here in blue that was also resistance for us back in December. Then we have essentially the blues are going to be your uptrends and the orange is going to be your downtrend. And then these purple lines are going to be your resistances coming up. So if we zoom in here to the more recent price action on the daily time frame, what we can see is we're kind of building this little bit of a wedge. You could say this is in spirit of a bull flag, right? We've made a massive move here, really from the end of last year to now, right? We made this massive move and we're pulling back just ever so slightly. And so we came into a lot of resistances, right? Whether that's the downtrend resistance, the uptrend resistance, or even just that resistance from a horizontal level, there was a lot of resistance here that we couldn't quite break through. So not super surprising that we didn't go too much higher than that. But the question is, what happens once we go and up and retest those areas again? So it's looking pretty bullish right now from that bull flag pattern that we're seeing, right? One thing that we are also looking at, and I know Garcia likes to do these a lot, are Fibonacci levels. So if we pull this down to some of the lows, we can see we're really close to that 382 Fibonacci level, right? So a lot of times we'll see things pull back to certain levels within Fibonacci, and then they'll actually send right after that. So healthy pullback. Again, it's a bull flag. That 382 is right on this trend line. So what I'd love to see is for this to come down. Gosh, what would this be? Just another 7 to probably 10% over the next couple of days. Retest this, have that as support, and then make its way upward. So I think once we kind of break out of this bull flag that it's creating, we could see some pretty awesome upside on this. Again, we are very far off of all-time highs. So if we just went back to, say, our all-time highs on ORCA, we'd be looking at about 611%. And so we've seen a lot of coins go even higher than that, higher than their all-time highs, of course. And this is all, of course, as Soham says on the thesis that Bitcoin continues to do well as well. So pretty crazy. I like where it's at right now. It's not in a really exposed position. It's not in price discovery, and it ran quite a while ago. So something to keep in mind.
Love it. And I think it plays well into the the narrative of kind of, it seems like the soul cycle, and no pun intended, but it does seem like it's really the Solana bull run in terms of how it's performed and how the meme coins are performing on Solana. So tying to the dexes, things like Jupiter, Radium, ORCA, it seems like the play makes sense, at least. And in a world where, in crypto, sometimes things just seem to go up for no reason. So I like that. I like the thought process behind it. Awesome. So thanks for covering the charts, Mana. We're going to dive into really quickly just the kind of TVL and volume data around ORCA and kind of comparing it to some of the other dexes and protocols on Solana. So let's dive in here really quickly. We're going to look at it from a kind of high level view first. So macro, just looking at Solana as a chain in general. And I think scrolling down here, one of the things that I want to point out initially here, we're covering TVL, is comparing ORCA down here, number 11 on TVL, and then some of the other closer competitors, obviously, Radium being another DEX, It is a little bit lower from a TVL perspective, 246 million to 676, comparing it to Radium. But if we hop over to volume, what we're going to notice is that the volume on ORCA is actually substantially higher. So it's about 2x higher over a 7-day period. We have $1.765 billion in volume on Radium in the last 7 days, and then 3.6 billion on the last 7-day look back for volume on ORCA. So definitely some interesting points there from a volume and TVL perspective. Both have been growing pretty substantially over the last 30 to 90 days, but have seen kind of a pullback just in the last day to 7 days. But I think when we're kind of zooming out and just looking at, let's say, ORCA from a TVL standpoint, really quickly here, we do have quite a bit of ways to go until we're back to the all-time high on TVL for ORCA. So I think that, obviously there's still a good amount of room to run from a usage perspective on ORCA from what we saw back in 2021 in the height of the bull run, right just shy of 1.5 billion in TVL. And right now we're sitting at 275-ish million in TVL. But that kind of covers some of the on-chain stats there.
Yeah, it's really good to see just kind of all of those metrics, whether it's on the Solana chain at a more macro level or just the individual dexes, in this case, ORCA. All the charts, they have some dips here and there, but generally just really strong trends like up and to the right ever since kind of late last year, like October or so. They've all been performing really well. I did find the volume data actually pretty interesting. It kind of speaks to, if you have less TVL but you're doing more volume, you could argue that you're being that's a more capital efficient kind of ecosystem there. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I found that pretty interesting. And yeah, there seems to be no signs of slowing down, honestly, right? There's a reason why these tokens are kind of considered like Sol beta, if you will. So if Solana does a 2-3x, a lot of times you see these ecosystem tokens do much more, and really everything is kind of pointing to that direction. I'm curious what you think of.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that is keeping Solana and actually making it more relevant than ever is this meme coin season that's happening within Solana. And these dexes, ORCA and Radium, are a huge part of that. To be able to even get into these meme coins, you're going to have to use a Radium or an ORCA. And I think, like you're saying, Zoe, that's what we're seeing in the volume numbers. There's an enormous demand to try and get into some of these WIFs, some of these bonks, some of these FAM tokens, whatever you want to put in there for your meme coin. There is a huge demand to get in there. And so, yeah, these are absolutely going to be important in this stage. But like you're saying, if Bitcoin goes to 80, 90K, and we've already seen Solana be one of the best performing tokens so far this year in 2024. If it continues with that trend and these meme coins continue, there's just going to be more and more volume on these platforms. And so, I think I really believe in this play of trying to get behind the infrastructure of Solana before we really kick off this huge run that's about to happen. So, yeah, I think ORCA is a super interesting project to follow.
All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for today. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of WagmiTV. If you found any of this useful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And for all things Solana, for all things Solana ecosystem, we're going to be keeping tabs on it. So make sure to tune back in on the next one. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on WagmiTV.